Hey everybody, welcome out to Cars, Bars, and Guitars podcast, episode number 1. I'm AJ.
And I'm Steve. Everybody else is doing it, so why can't we?
Yep, we are two 30-somethings on our journey to talk about the three things we love the most, which is anything with 4 wheels, sometimes 2 wheels, sometimes 6 wheels, and
3 wheels.
Beer. Craft beer, liquor, not wine.
For you. I'm getting the hang of red.
No, it's got to be dessert wine. It has to be Moscato. It has to be Riesling.
You haven't gotten over it's just sour grapes hump.
Ugh, God, or sour beer.
You're not yet cab savvy, and oddly enough, had a decent sour last night at Rock Bottom. If it's named the Funky Scotsman, it's going to suck less. It has to suck less. It's going to be better. It was everything short of it being served in a kilt.
I would have to be at Rock Bottom to enjoy a sour. The last part of it would be guitars. So we're going to talk about music, too. We have similar tastes in music.
Let there be rock.
Yep, he cannot get me to like Mike Patton. I don't care how many songs I hear. I'm sure the dude's groovy in person. I just can't. I can't do it.
Poor guy has no faith and faith no more.
I don't want it all, and I don't want to have it either.
It's in your face, and yet you grabbed it. Oh, the beer anyway.
Well,
so how's last year's hotcakes?
It's not as syrupy, but it's hardly bad, I would say. It says, okay, so for you guys listening, we're out of Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm drinking a Noda Hopcakes, which is an Imperial IPA brewed with maple syrup. It's 10.2%. Noda Brewing Company's finest. And Mr. Steve, what are you drinking?
This is a 3rd Street Brewhouse Hop Lift, courtesy of the Rowdy Audi. It is an IPA, 6.2%, which means I can drink even more of these before I feel anything.
Yeah, I guess so. How is it?
Hoppy. Good.
Hoppy but happy.
Also, yes.
Sweet. So we have never done anything like this before. We have been talking about doing this for a little while, so we decided to go ahead and do it. And like you said, everybody else is doing it. So I'm sure since you guys are listening, you must be bored as shit too, because we're kind of tired of our day jobs. So we're going to just come here to vent. I think we're going to start it out, twice a month?
Whenever we can do it, sure.
Yeah, twice.
Twice, that seems like a good start.
Yeah, I just any more than that, and it's too much like work. And until we're getting paid to do this, I think twice a month is
we can't all be Adam Carolla.
Yeah. I can stomach him for a little while, but I mean, after it's the voice after a little while, because I love his car stuff. His comedy's okay, but after a little while, I can't get past that, and it gets a little old.
So if Fran Drescher's on the show, are you going to be able to tell?
Fran Drescher on the Corolla podcast? Oh boy, with Gilbert Godfrey and Bobcat Goldthwait.
That would be amazingly colossal.
That would be just called "Fuck You," the "Fuck You" podcast. So while we're on entertainment, I think. Well, we were gonna do like segments, but then I think we would.
Whatever happens,
we would go off on tangents anyway. So doing a segment would be like trying to teach one of my cats how to juggle. It'd be fun to try it, but it's probably not going to work out for the best.
Well, you could just be juggling your cats, and that's going to not go so well either.
That will go even worse.
Yeah,
even worse. Let's do car. Our car history is a scattered, colossal mess of mishmashed, some Malaise era, some not, I think. Yeah, some Malaise era. If you don't know what Malaise is, what was the year?
72 or 73 till 95. Basically, emissions controls through OBD2.
You down with OBD?
Yeah, you know me.
So let's do your car history first. I believe we've each owned 10.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right.
Once upon a time, we wrote this down, and for anybody keeping count, hey, more power to you. So upon getting my driver's license about 20 years ago, I can't exactly say I stole the car that Dad had picked up, but it was a 1990 Volvo 740 sedan, gray, 5-speed manual. I took my driver's test in this car after 2 months getting the hang of shift it yourself. And hey, you should too. Total that February of 2000, senior year of high school, a Saturn wiped my nose off. Well, two safe cars collide. Yes, they're both totaled, but everybody walked from the accident.
Wait, a Saturn was supposed to be safe?
At least the early ones, yes. It was a steel skeleton under all that plastic bodywork.
I did not know. You have a bad life experience with Saturns.
We're not going with that one just yet.
Give us a couple more drinks, and we'll probably be talking about that kind of stuff too.
It won't be that ionic. You don't think?
All right, and so Saturn takes the nose off.
Yes. Me being in high school, I've got no money, so Dad picks up a '92 Volvo 240 automatic in bright red. Keep the car about 3 months since. I can't say he won the auction, but simply was the highest bidder at auction to pick up an '84 two-tone blue Chevy Blazer, automatic one-wheel drive.
Ugh.
You can't even say two-wheel drive. I tried to go up the hill at parents' house, and it's a sliding every which way. And then I had to go re-seed that part of the lawn.
Now, was that the 4.3?
No, this being an '84 had a 2.8. My uncle knew a lot of mechanics that made a lot of money off of that engine. For being as small as it was good for about 15 miles a gallon in town and 20 highway. So at the time I was valet parking at the Greensboro airport, spring of 2000. I'd have to gas the car up every 4 days. 13-gallon gas tank with dreadful mileage. No, it's not that it was fast. It wasn't luxurious in those fine vinyl seats. So that became my sister's first car, and for being as old as she is, it held up well enough. That summer, I pick up an '89 Volkswagen GTI, 16-valve in black. I wanted a Honda Civic Si, but those were impossible to find, so at least the hot hatch bug was born.
Do you want a hot hatch, but do you want to spend 3 times the amount on parts and maintenance? Well, we got the car for you.
Oddly enough, that held up better than its replacement, but also in the late high school era, Dad picked up an '87 Toyota pickup that was the 6th vehicle in what became a family of 5 drivers. Off-white, camper shell, automatic, two-wheel drive with the 22 RE in it. Whatever the carb motor was, that it wasn't fast by any means, but it started, it ran, and it did what it needed to, and your wife is dreadfully afraid of that truck. It is no longer with us since it lives on with its contractor that Dad traded housework for.
Yeah, I heard about that story.
What, your power steering doesn't make a really awful grinding noise every time? That after 30 years... it's time to go. If you crash this thing, you're going to be super dead. Not just dead, super dead.
Yes, yeah, yeah. It will make that noise if I let the steering fluid get low, which the Maxima's leaked. We'll get right on that. It's not my turn yet.
Yeah. So keep the 16-valve '89 GTI about 2 years, and my parents are concerned that, well, this car has no airbags. It's about 2,300 pounds, and should I collide anything with it, this could go quite badly. So sell that upon finding a '98 Volkswagen GTI VR666. Why is that? In the 5 months I kept this car, this is the most problematic thing I've ever encountered. This really extinguished the Volkswagen candle for me after the hydraulic clutch went out. The stereo kept popping. The driver's seat derailed after I tried to move it back far enough to pull out the La Cucaracha door chime. Do 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 do. Like, this is just some goofy nonsense, man. What the heck?
That kind of sounds like the intro or the intro music to Tales from the Dark Side that used to come on Fox. Doon doon doon. You don't remember that?
Do not know that one.
It was a modern Twilight Zone from I believe it was late 80s to early 90s, and It was called the Dark Side.
So is this their gang symbol?
It should be.
Okay.
But it was creepy as fuck, man. I gotta let you watch that on YouTube later. But it showed these creepy pictures of like the forest and
The trees.
yes, but I couldn't see them. There were too many. The guys, there's gonna be a lot of puns, and we're not sorry about it because you chose to listen to this. Anyway, it was it showed all this, and it played that down, 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 and it goes, "Man lives in a sunlit world in what he believes to be a reality," and it's cool. It is cool as shit. Steve's afraid.
Very afraid.
No, we'll look that up later. I might stick that in this podcast.
Was that their Nickelodeon mashup? That Are You Afraid of the Dark Side?
Legends
of the Moon.
Salute your legends of the hidden dark side. Hey, dude.
That is a little wild and a little strange.
Clarissa Explains It All was on Nickelodeon, wasn't
Yes.
it? I saw a girl that looked just like Melissa Joan Hart the other day. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That.
Her then or her now after she's gone off the deep end?
Did she go off the deep end?
I think she's in cahoots with Kirk Cameron and his band of crazies making shit cinema.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Thanks, Internet. Would it lie to me?
Melissa Joan Hart, if you're out there and listening to this, give us a call. We're taking calls right now. We
still heart you. For a good time, call 867-5309.
Damn you, Tommy Two-Tone.
Thanks, Stu.
All right, so Steve's Satanic V-dub pre-Dieselgate was we'll play the Tales from the Dark Side.
Talk about schadenfreude when that happens. Like, the 89 Death Trap held up well enough except for an oil leak that rivaled Spy Hunter, and after a series of expensive repairs on the 98, the only logical thing, of course, was to get a Toyota. So I got a Camry.
Yeah, did it have the Camry dent?
Actually, no. The car and body held up really well in the 3 years I had that one. It was a 93 V6 SE. Sunroof, sporty tires. Like, it called for V-rateds. 149 miles an hour cap seems a bit optimistic. It could at least get into three figures, allegedly. But that was a really solid car. And by the end of it, the suspension's a bit shot, and it had a bit of an oil burn. And this was right before I stopped working at the tire shop to just keep complaining, oh yeah, the tires are bad because they become octagonal. Well, the shocks are shot, and it's got a $180 on it. How much longer could this thing run? Who knows? Someone's probably tooling around in it somewhere with $500,000 on it.
Well, now, did you say it was a stick?
It was a stick.
Nice.
Yeah. As were first Volvo, both GTIs before they came out with DSG nonsense. And I think the SE V6 was a stick-only option on the Camry. Too bad I couldn't find that in a wagon to have the double rear window wiper model.
Two-door wagon?
A shooting brake?
Ugh, I hate that term. God, he knows I hate that term. Ugh, God, I'm about to rinse my mouth out with something. Here, no hop kicks to the rescue.
Da 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 da.
Well,
instead of long hatchback. So yeah, had that. Picked up a pickup, a '97 Tacoma, two-wheel drive, and somewhere in there it was involved in the frame recall. It was like it's lived in central North Carolina all its life, so this isn't going to rust in half. So kept that a good 8 years and wound up trading that since I was bored. Traded in on an '07 Tacoma pre-runner. Kept that about a year and a half after realizing this thing's making me go broke.
Well, now, didn't somebody carve something into the hood of the 97?
Once upon life in the apartment near UNC Charlotte, why, yes, it did get a nice "fuck you" carved into the hood.
And I don't think you did anything to you. Somebody driving that truck, just like yours, must have pissed this person off.
There were 4 other maroon pickup trucks in the area: a Mazda B series, an older Toyota pickup, and an early Tundra. And I was more upset about that than when it got hit by a drunk driver in the parking lot. Since then, that was a lucky shot that I called my insurance company inquiring about this. But hey, I've got liability on it. It cost me $38 a month. Not a whole lot they can do.
Yeah.
But the gentleman at Progressive managed to track down a police report matching my story, where he had collided with my neighbor's Civic and my pickup. Her Civic was totaled. The Tacoma was still drivable afterwards, since it beat up the fender, beat up the door, so much so that the door would still open and close, but it leaked and damaged some of the suspension. After getting insurance matters settled, there was about $2,000 worth of damage to the truck, which hadn't totaled said old truck at 13 years of age.
And for those of you who don't know why, it's because Toyota trucks hold their value much like gold or land, things like that.
It wasn't yet the meteor-proof model that came out in 2005, but that's what the pre-runner Ringer had been. It was a very lovely vehicle, but I would never get a speeding ticket in it. And its replacement still couldn't get a speeding ticket in it. That the 2.4 motivates 2,800 pounds better than 27. The 2.7 could motivate 3,500 pounds.
Oof.
With worse gas mileage, as gas prices are creeping up to $4 a gallon. I know economists, but this was a very poor idea. Sure looked cool for a big fluffy truck. However, still suffering through that credit card now, 5 years later.
Well, it looked cool, and it rode really nicely because the tires were just massive.
265 7016s were on that. I'm glad I never had to reshoe it.
Well, I guess that's not as... because the Jeep has 235, 75, 15. I would be curious to see those side by side. My math is
It'd be
suffering a bit right now.
Yay, much taller. Like, that's a good off-air inquiry. So for the latest and greatest, decided I'm going to get rid of the truck in summer of 14, and my mechanic out on the western side of Charlotte, shout out to Russ's Tire and Auto, he's got a 03 Pontiac Vibe GT on the lot. Well, I got to thinking I wanted a Toyota Matrix to replace this truck so that I could have something with a bit more get up and go, but still be able to haul stuff. Well, the Matrix and Vibe are related. One's Canadian built, one's Californian built. And once you know, the Vibe's built in the factory and now builds the Tesla.
Very nice.
So that's a nice use bit of trivia for y'all out there. So this comes with the Toyota 2ZZ engine that revs to 8,000 RPM and something that looks like a shrunken Subaru Outback.
It does look. I never thought about that.
With all the gray trim, that's totally the thing. And now all the little crossover sport youths out there have Pro aped its style, much like the Crosstrek you hate so much.
Ugh. Yeah, sorry, Thomas. My buddy Thomas has a Crosstrek, and I hate it. He was too drunk to drive home one day, which is saying something for him. And I drove him back in his Crosstreks, 2013 CVT, awful transmission, noisy transmission. The steering in that was it was the first numbest steering experience I've ever had.
How do you make it automatic worse? You make it a belt.
Ugh.
What do you have, City Bus or an 80s Subaru Justy?
The worst. For those of you not familiar with a CVT, it's continuously variable transmission. So you rev it and it goes up to 1 RPM and it continuously shifts at that. So it stays. You rev it up once it gets to like 3,500. It stays at 3,500. It's good for torque and it's horrible for a droning headache you will have in your head very shortly afterwards. But the steering in that car is meaningless. It's like going to the arcade near my hometown and sitting down at the old arcade machine they had with the gear lever and the steering wheel that would look
hard driving, race driving, outrun, Iron Man Stewart's Super Off Road. I saw that at the brewery the other night.
Which brewery?
Resident Culture over in Plasmid,
land of the IPA.
Oh, I like that IPA. Whatever.
Which one?
The one with the silly name.
That narrows it down.
Everything had a funny name. Like I don't remember what it was, but it was awesome. It was basically their Juicy J. So we almost wound up at Legion, met up with Anthony the other night, and wound up at Res Cult, and that was awesome.
Is Anthony still a lean, mean cooking machine?
Nice. Yeah, he's doing all right.
I got you. I was just going to tell... Oh, Legion is releasing... I don't know if you follow their FaceTube page or not, but...
You?
I'm intrigued by the idea because I love cereal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Cinnamon Toast Crunch blonde ale. Yeah. I saw that today, and I showed Emily, and I was like, I'm going to need to try this, because I bleed Cinnamon Toast Crunch. For those of you who do not know me and my cereal habits, I fucking love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's my favorite cereal.
You're no hippie. You're just a different sort of crunchy.
True. But they have an apple Cinnamon Toast Crunch now, and it is absolutely danktastic. Well, I got some downstairs that we will have to investigate that.
I'm wondering about if there's a competing brewery that's going to instead have a Cinnabon beer.
There should be, although we've completely lost track. But now we're on cereal beer, so cereal beer is where it's at. That 2018 is cereal beer year. So let's do a. I think Captain Crunch should have been the blonde ale, to me. Because it's you know what I mean? It's
you think cinnamon, you expect a darker beer.
I would,
like more of a porter stout sort of thing?
Or porter, even an amber. But then you do like the Count Chocula stout would be just phenomenal. But it can only be out during Halloween, unfortunately. You could have a Blueberry Saison.
I'd still try it.
Oh, yeah. And then,
it's, the gateway to sours. I still try it. Yeah.
We don't like sour beer, guys. Not really. And you can't make us. And we're not neckbeards.
At least it's always a different beer. It's whatever it is. It's always something different. I may not enjoy it, but I'm always curious. Sorry to your 3 cats and the effect curiosity may have on them.
They all have 9. They have 27 lives together.
Fix that.
No, the thing Steve and I talk. What do you do with sour milk?
You
throw sour milk out. So why do people drink sour beer? Damn it! All right,
time to get funky.
So Steve is currently driving a Vibe, and
I love my Pinota.
I
don't like that the paint's falling off and windshield's cracked. The cruise control never worked, and it's got a kind of gentler oil leak, only about 3,000 or 4,000 miles per quart of oil leaked,
which will be changed shortly anyway. So it's not huge.
It's up to 228, so at 230 is the next one.
How many quarts does that thing take since it revs to 8?
4.75.
No shit. I thought it'd be more than that.
The 2.7 second Tacoma took 6.
Gotcha.
Which seems ridiculous to put that much oil in an engine seemingly that small. That's still smaller than giant soda bottles of yesteryear. You don't see a lot of 3-liter soda bottles, but then again, the biggest engine I ever had was a 3.0.
That is the biggest one. Yep, that is true. Which from modern... Well, I don't know. Engines are getting smaller now.
But they're getting more turboed, and I never had turbo.
Wow, that is true.
Fun fact about... said Vibe, back 2 years ago, participated in we're not calling this a race around 45, race around 45, that being the big loop road going around Charlotte, starting and ending at Concord Mills. Met Reed there. He had an 02 WRX. 98% of one. The rear bumper was missing, but was riding his tail feathers most of the way going around 45, and then somewhere Whitewater Center, totally within reason of acceptable speed, past him, but since he used the 45 entryway off of 45 getting to and from the theater at Concord Mills, he defeated me and said, "This isn't a race." There were some other people participating in said event, but we were at least quickest around.
What would we call the Charlotte Cannonball Run? You can't call it Cannonball Run.
No, unless you've got a sponsor from Cannon Mills that is no more.
What if you spell it with a K?
I like your Kannapolis Stew attitude.
Ugh. Good old K-Town. I saw a woman open up a beer bottle with her eye socket up there one time. It was disgusting. Kannapolis is Gastonia North. We're gonna piss a lot of people off, or I'm gonna piss a lot of people off. I mean, it's not true though.
Did she have our limbs, or is she stumped as well as I am?
I believe she was fully limbed. I try not to stare when I'm at the circus. Well, can we call it the Mecklenburg Ringer? The Mecklenburg Ringer.
Seeing as that same day I met a gentleman who makes decals, and my car's now wearing a Mecklenburg Ring sticker.
So does the Jeep.
Yeah, made sure to pick up a spare.
So what's the winning time?
Thanks, Chris. If I did it in 55 or 57, Reed must have done it in 54 to 56.
All right, so if you think you can beat Steve Nicks' time on the Mecklenburg Ringer trip around 485, which I believe is, 66 miles? 67?
You've got 67 mile markers that on the south side of town is when 67 resets to 1, going from 77 to South Tryon. So, plus starting stop point for any of you wannabe cannonballers gathering up. Yeah. So if you can make it around an hour, you're doing fine. It's all 70 miles an hour. And doing it on a Saturday morning, the only pinch point was Ballantine because it's Ballantine.
Yeah. So they decided to let's make a 485 4 lanes from 85 to 77 on the north side, and then let's make it pretty much a lane and a half on the south side of town. So
between construction and attempting to widen one of the original portions of it, it's still not good. No, you've heard all about it from M. That's unpleasant, to put it kindly.
I hear traffic updates from M every day, whether I wanted to or not. And I love her, and I love talking to her, but I deal with enough traffic anyway, too.
News break. Traffic sucks from them parts.
Yeah, well, it sucks in general, especially during any kind of precipitation.
So what she needs to do is trade the Accord Buick for a Pontiac Transport, because if traffic sucks, drive a dustbuster.
Hell yeah. If you want to see something cool, just type in modified Chevy Lumina APV into Google and look at the pictures of
the
things.
Van.
The things people have done to this is incredible. There's docked out ones, convertible.
7 bucket seats. You can interchange all the seats with each other. This is the weirdest game of Tetris ever.
Oh God! And you used to see those. That car and the last gen before they retroed the Thunderbird. We used to see those Thunderbird coupes everywhere. I haven't seen a Thunderbird coupe probably 8 years.
They've been out of production for 20.
Yeah.
And that would be under consideration except for its PRND problem.
I have seen more new T-Birds. The one that won Playboy's Car of the Year in, 2002?
That sounds about right. And frankly, that makes most people envy the blind.
Ugh, yes. No, I've seen more of those than I've seen of the last. And the last one was actually, the 80s T-Birds my sister had one. And that thing would absolutely haul ass.
Phaedra, Holly?
Yeah, Phaedra had it. Yeah, she had the T-Bird.
Did it have the supercharged V6 in it?
It did.
Woo.
It would scoot. I mean, that thing was. And it had a really ambitious. It was a digital speedometer, but when you turned it on, it would flash 188. That's pretty ambitious, but but it would move.
You can do 100 better than a DeLorean. Or at least the gauge capacity offered that.
Pretty much anything will do 100 better than a DeLorean. Cool to look at. In theory, very slow.
I don't think the old 87 could.
The 87 truck?
Yeah.
Downhill.
I think by the end of it, the maximum comfortable speed was about 58, maybe 62 downhill. Back when I lived in Raleigh between 02 and 05, I helped a friend move from the D.C. area back to Durham. And it couldn't keep up with the rest of traffic loaded with stuff going down 95.
How much stuff?
I had a camper shell, so it was voluminous. Yeah, the volume.
Well, do you remember we moved that?
This beer's working, but it was a voluminous bunch of nonsense from Arlington, Virginia to, RTP.
Did you travel from the cemetery gates? It's a Pantera reference, everybody. You were in Arlington National.
Touche.
There. Yeah. Cheers to that. To never mind. We're cheersing to dead soldiers.
I was gonna say cheersing to a reference I completely missed.
To yeah, that too. We love the troops.
My potential future dwelling is in the Arlington neighborhood of not quite Mint Hill, so it was like my mind was not further north. Whoops.
That's okay. My mind is rarely further north than this is as north as I want to be.
Is this burning an eternal flame?
Man, Susanna Hoffs is still gorgeous. The singer of the Bangles, one of the singers of the Bangles. I mean, I think they all did a little bit of singing, but you just go ahead and Google her picture. Like, she looks exactly the same. I mean, a lot less Aquanet than the '80s, which that was the thing. Trust me,
it can't be White Rain. That was my grandmother's hairspray of choice.
Oh God. Ugh.
Can't even make a butchered Prince song out of that. Not enough syllables.
Well, there's white. Well, no, there's Black Rain from Soundgarden, and there's Purple Rain. There's other than colors, we got Blame It on the Rain from Milli Vanilli, and
or whoever their backup singers were.
I want to know: have you ever seen The Rain? We got to keep this going. How many Rain songs can we?
Here Comes the Rain by The Cure.
Mm-hmm.
No, The Cult.
Yeah, and then Rain from Breaking Benjamin. I know there's more. It's Raining Men.
Hallelujah.
Millions were killed.
Talk about a funny visual.
Now, wasn't it the weather? One of the Weather Girls was in that group of people that sang for Milli Vanilli. I think. I'm going to research that later. I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere on like pop-up video or.
Should ever you need to make yourself a new band, you will then be Miller Vanilla.
Ooh, that sounds like a really horrible Miller Coors idea.
It does.
Miller Chill Vanilla. God damn.
Sometimes the beer has no chill.
You know what? Miller Chill is better than Bud Light Lime, which is kind of like saying having typhoid is better than hepatitis C. But
hey, at least typhoid appeared in the Oregon Trail.
That is true.
Never mind. Dysentery was the much more famous one because more syllables. It's a much more fun word to say.
It is. Typhoid's over in 2 syllables. It's basically, dysentery. It just sounds more authoritative.
You have died from dysentery. You have died from attempting to pump your own gas. Sorry, Oregon.
Some people do say Oregon. I know one guy that says Missouri instead of Missouri. He says Missouri.
You said misery awful funny.
I've never been. Have you ever been to Missouri?
No.
I haven't either.
The one opportunity I had was to go to a friend's wedding in January.
Which friend was... I seem to remember something about this.
Jamie, who now lives in Holland.
That's an interesting move.
After having bounced from New York to Miami, she and her husband now live in Holland.
That's interesting. So my car history, I had a hand-me-down 1988 Chrysler Conquest, a.k.a. Mitsubishi Starion. It was an automatic. It had peeling purple paint.
Purple paint.
It's the full circle, man. The official color code was Durban Maroon. But let me tell you, the brochures that you saw of this car, it clearly was maroon. But as the paint got older, it's the only car I've ever seen that the paint got darker. Usually your paint fades, it bleaches out. This car started out life maroon. It ended up very dark purple.
Meanwhile, my blue car is fading in the gray. It's going to join the Confederacy. How very modern.
Well, it is a Pontiac.
Good.
Oh, I didn't know this, but after watching one of DeMuro's videos, the Fiat 124.
Your father-in-law's car.
Yep. If you pop the hood, the underside of the hood, the heat shield says Mopar. Now, you're telling me, Fiat Chrysler, you couldn't make one that said Fiat or anything, or just blank. It says Mopar on it.
I guess with it being more so a stateside vehicle.
Yeah, but Mopar's never, like, Fiat is Abarth.
Right.
And even, I don't even think the Abarth has it. I think it says Mopar on the inside.
Yeah, it was stamped on the windshield, too. I saw that same video.
Yeah. I mean, you think you're buying this exotic Italian car, and there's nothing wrong. I grew up Mopar. I love Mopar. But you're going to buy this exotic Italian roadster and pop the hood. It says Mopar on it.
Do I need to sound like Jeremy Clarkson real quick?
Can you?
Well, let's see here. You've got yourself an Italian-branded car built in Japan in cahoots with a company that had been owned by the Germans. Not since 1943 have you seen power like this.
Didn't go so well, did it?
Not by the end of it. No.
Seemed to be all right now. Although I maintain Mussolini sounds sort of like some kind of pasta.
Delicious, delicious pasta.
Now I'm hungry. I should drink more.
I thought you were eating before this.
I mean, yeah, I had a sandwich.
You're pretending to diet anyway. Who are you kidding? Yourself? Good luck with that.
8 pounds, I believe. I'm guessing. I don't have a scale.
You really should be eating British currency. It's still worth more than ours.
I did get to borrow a line from House the other day because a lady came in, and not one of our regular customers, and she had an accent. I said, I detect a fairly strong accent. I said, how long have you been stateside? And she says, about 2 years. I said, where from? And I said, English? She goes, no, I'm Australian. I said, no, the Queen is on your money. You're British. She laughed. I'm glad Aussies have a sense of humor.
I think that's the nature of that nation.
Yeah, I would imagine you have to have some sort of good sense of humor when you have spiders the size of your face, just kind of chilling out.
Fucking kangaroos. And what's next? Venomous ducks.
Oh, man.
Oh, wait, they call them a platypus there.
Platypi? Platypi?
I think that's what I keep playing old video games on, is a platypi. So, you were saying, I love those guys. Hey, thanks for the break. Anyway, who?
That's everything in Charlotte's duck related anyway.
Quacktastic.
I drew a blue duck because I wanted to see a blue duck. You know that ref.
Once again, quacktastic.
Yes. Toby has that shirt, and it kills every time we wear it. Shout out to $6shirts.com and to Busted Tees.
Let's say shout out to Five Below for basically the same concept for even less. Now with sales tax.
I didn't know they had t-shirts there. I went straight to what I needed because men go buying and women shop. Like if I need item X, I go, hey, item X is on that aisle. I'm going to get that item, and then that's all I need.
If I got some time to kill, I'll happily murder it there. I did manage to find several Christmas-themed shirts there, so I've got my gangster rapper with Santa throwing gang signs and I'm only a morning person on December 25th shirt.
Classy.
I try to keep it.
So
go to it.
Well, it started with the Purple Conquest, and then I liked it so much, even though it was a gigantic piece of garbage. Shout out to my sister for jacking that one up. She took it to college, and it quit right at, I think, 182,000.
Did it blink?
But the foam in the seats was coming out. It burnt oil and leaked oil. It needed everything. It was just a gigantic piece of shit.
True Mitsubishi fashion.
Worse even. So my dad finds a white one, a white 87 Conquest with 36,000 miles on it at the time, and the guy wanted $3,500 for it.
That's about the mileage that the old 87 had.
Oh, yeah.
It was a little old lady's truck.
Yeah, guy had a fender bender, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to fix it and sell it. Took him like 12 years to fix it. So he just let it sit in his garage. So, I mean, it was fairly pristine still. It had a little bit of surface rust that they painted over on the quarter panel, but it wasn't too bad. Interior was mint. I mean, it ran like a champion.
The interior was about the color of your previous StarQuest, wasn't it?
Exactly the same color. It was a maroon. It was the 80s, guys, so it was a solid maroon interior. The dash, the door panels, the seats, the carpet, it was all maroon,
Pimptastic.
not 5. That would be horrible. You should see this face Steve is making. I'd say it's getting harder and harder to breathe in here. That's, you know what? That's actually their best. That's their best song. It's actually not a bad song. I don't mind it. Anyway, I kept that one for 9 years.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the D100 yet.
I'm getting there. I
thought you kept saying that was your first car.
It was in the Well, no, the Conquest was in the family first, the purple one.
Okay.
My dad bought that one brand new in '88 for $22,000 in 1988. That thing was expensive back then. But you had heated mirrors and like a 8-way adjustable EQ stereo cassette.
That 90 Volvo probably would have been 25 brand new. By 98 it was 6,000. The Vibe would have been 22.5 new because the receipt was there. Not the window sticker, but the receipt from Hanna-Barbera not brewery.
That'd be
Car
awesome.
dealership. Yeah, go on. Yeah, it was like Yogi Bear at Ben Minot of Concord was where that car came from. For 22.5 back in 03.
My junior year of high school.
My first entire legal year of drinking.
Wink.
Legal year. See what happens when you turn 21 when Die Another Day comes out? You get drunk and watch a shitty James Bond movie.
An illegal is just a sick bird, buddy. But no, after the White Conquest, and I drove the '68 Dodge D100 pickup, 3 318 V8 with a 4-barrel carburetor, or no, 3 I don't remember. It's been a while, but my dad paid $800 for that thing in 1990, and it quit running in 2006. That's a pretty good return on investment, I would say. You could see the road through the floorboard, and the heat didn't work.
You're saying Roy got a good Roy.
He did. He really did Roy got a good Roy. But no carpet, no headliner. The gas gauge worked, but a quarter tank was empty. And a quarter tank overfull was full. And a 3/4 of a tank was a half a tank. It just shifted 1/4 tank over.
So it's not so much you're driving on pins and needles here, but you're sure relying on them.
It took me twice of running out of gas to realize, like, it wasn't always like that, but it took me twice to realize, okay, now the gauge is fucked up, so I've got to like, not do that again.
Sounds about like the 9143 S10 I borrowed when I blew a head gasket in the 87 truck, because at the time the 98 GTI was under repair after having been sideswiped in it or some mechanical malady. In the 5 months I had that, it spent a month in the shop at great expense.
You want to take a guess on how the last year the Dodge truck was running? Do you want to take a guess on how much the property taxes were on it in 2006?
12 cents.
$3.40.
Well, that was only $3.28 off.
Soon,
basic BMW.
I know they're going to pay you to drive it. Like, it still runs. Wow, cool. Here's a check for $20.
That's about where the Jeep is.
It's getting there. So 2 Conquests and a D100, and then I had a bit of trouble out of the Dodge truck. This was around that time, so went and bought got the Astro van, 94 Astro van DVD player. 4.3 liter Vortec, though. The thing would scoot, man. I raced a low-riding truck one day. I just completely demolished. He had the lights and everything. He was revving his engine. And
did you give it the license plate glide?
I should have. That was a smooth joke there, buddy. Did you get it from Kentucky? The
that jelly's no joke.
I don't think you're ready for it.
It doesn't taste like chicken though.
You know what the difference between jelly and jam is, right? This isn't even a joke. Like it's
Seeds,
uh,
preserves.
jelly is made from the juice, and jam is made from the fruit. I didn't know that until I had to look it up. And somebody said, "Well, what's marmalade made of?" I said, 4 ladies singing."
I can say the rind. Also, yes.
Astrovan in my possession only lasted a month because the transmission went out. It only had low gear. So after that, I'm kind of forced to buy something. 93 Accord LX. Sunroof, 2-door, 5-speed. By the way, we always...
With the sunroof?
Yeah.
Not
Well,
yet.
it was an aftermarket sunroof that...
Pop top.
Yeah, and it didn't leak. Whoever put it in, shout out to that guy, man. He did a good job. But
And you could actually pop the top instead of it was a real cock up.
you could take the whole fucking thing out. Like, if you popped it up, and then it had... I don't remember how it's been...
I'm familiar with that. Collins Buick was the same way in 85 Century with said instant skin cancer.
Super comfortable. Like that, the seat. I mean, all those Honda seats had that mouse down. And you know what? In true ironic fashion, interior color on that Accord, maroon. Maroon dash, maroon seats, carpet, door panels.
Maroon car, or was this going to be some sort of like mint green exterior with the inside being bright red?
Ooh, I wish it was mint green. That would have been awesome. It would have like a thing of Colgate going down the road.
Aquafresh.
No, it was like a dark, it was like a dark champagne color, but not like pimpy champagne. Like, I'm trying to think of a car. Do you know that
shit's
370Z?
tan.
Do you know the
That shit
370Z
is
color?
tan.
The 370Z color, that dark metallic charcoal color. It was kind of like that. But anyway, that car got stolen. It had 185,000 miles. Got stolen. I got $1,000 more than it was worth. Bought the Civic HX, 1998, 40 mpg.
Ah, yes, the other side of VTEC.
Yeah, the very slow side of VTEC. 40 miles per gallon, though. It was a fun car. Thomas and I took it to the Dragon and just hooned the piss out of it. It was a blast. It was in December. There was no track. The tire, it was shitty tires. It was so cold. There was no traction. But it's a Civic.
That had costed $12 to replace.
Yeah, pretty much. It had Smarties for wheels. But that one I wrecked. That was totally my fault. But I hit the car in front of me so hard that they hit the car in front of them. Well, the car in front of them was driving without a license. And the car I hit was driving a rental car that wasn't rented to her. So the cop didn't give anybody a ticket that day because he said, well, I don't want to give anybody a ticket today. I guess he just didn't want to write down all. It was raining. It was gross outside. So I got that. My insurance went up quite a bit. But I got the Maxima. This is my version of Steve's VR 666 story. Because that Maxima, I went through 6 coil packs twice. I went through a slave cylinder, a brake booster. I had to replace the front calipers after I'd replaced the front pads twice in like 6 months. Something way premature. Finally did the calipers on it. That thing was just, and I love that car. It was quick. What did they say, the 4-door sports car? That was
At least with the previous generation, yes.
Yeah, 195 horsepower. Thing weighed $3,000. That was a stick. Steve and I only believe in manual transmissions. I've only had 2 automatic cars. You've had
2 daily drivers and the spare family car, so 2.5.
Gotcha.
3 too many.
Totally. It's just too lazy. I get bored when I'm driving, and I feel like I should be doing something. So I just start diddling. I'm just kidding.
You have a floor-mounted e-brake. You can make things way more entertaining with that.
I don't think Emily would appreciate
This
that.
clutch sucks.
And the Inspire, the Japanese market Accord, our Accord. Their Accord over there is the TSX, or now the TLX. It's the Honda Accord over there in Japan.
It's an automatic only now, so it's stillborn.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Japan and Euro spec Accord had been the TSX, so a mad decent car, which you had.
Yes. But the Accord over there, the Accord we get over in Japan is called the Inspire, which is the shittiest name for a car besides
Aspire. Thanks, Ford.
Oh my God, we had a guy named Chad who at my second store I worked at, and he drove a. All right, he got divorced, and she got the house, and he got the car. They only had one car. It was a metallic pink Ford Aspire, and we all called it the Easter egg because that's exactly what it looked like.
Sometimes magenta's not that magical.
I don't miss that guy. That guy was a tool, and not a useful tool that you keep around in case you need one day.
Not even a Maynard.
No.
Or whatever the hell he's doing now, making wine
with bacon in it.
Apparently, I think that'd be a good starting point for you.
A bacon wine?
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I'll try anything twice, but it is wine, so I immediately have reservations. But I know Anthony tells me not to have any. I beat you to it. Well, after Maxima, I had a job in real estate for a little while on the side. So I wanted to get me a nicer car. So I drove the Maxima up and around Charlotte looking at cars, and I had it narrowed down to a Saab 9.3 Aero, which was just a beautiful car. I mean, it really was. And an 08 TSX. Both of them were 08. Glad I went with a TSX. Paid $18,300 for that thing. It had 35,000 miles. It was a lease. $18,300 for that car that stickered at right around 30. The Saab, as an 08, was a 6-speed also, with the second worst steering of any car I've ever been in. And I've had that Dodge D100, and it had more direct steering. It was like driving a boat and the first NASA space shuttle together. Yeah.
It's a good year.
So it had meaningless steering. And I almost pulled the trigger on the Saab, but I'm glad I didn't. The Saab was for sale for $18,300 also. The Saab stickered brand new at 51. That's some really big mileage. The Acura had 36,000. Steve's laughing behind his hand. 36,000 miles.
Belt into the mic.
36,000 miles on the Acura, and there were 8,000 miles on the Saab, and it had depreciated from $51,000 to $18,300.
Was this also once the brand's plug had been pulled?
It was absolutely. It got pulled off of life support right after that hideous 9.5 came out. The successor to the last 9.5 was beautiful. Mm-hmm. That last one they came out with was heinous. It melted. It was disgusting.
It's a precursor to all of today's cars.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you want to drive a soap bar or a soap bar? Or, hey, why is your Camry angry?
Ugh. So I drove the TSX for, almost 3 years. I sold it right before I got married. So when I got married, I didn't have a car. My wife didn't have a job. They had fired her 5 days before our wedding. Fuck that company. Yeah, fuck that. I'm not even going to say it on here just in case this podcast actually takes off. But I don't want to get sued. But, yeah, those guys can kiss the fattest part of my ass.
Sick a duck.
So I had a buddy of mine. I was looking at S2000s. I've always loved S2000s. And there was one in Atlanta. Had him go look at it and drive it, and he said, checks out just fine, everything's pretty. Go down there sight unseen, have driven the car, and drove down there with 2 checks, one with the loan amount, one with the down payment, because they wouldn't finance. They wouldn't finance 100% because it was so old. It was the 04.
Same boat I was in with the Vib.
Mm-hmm. But still have the S2000 now. Daily drove it for 2 horrible months, and I say horrible because I just kept putting miles on it. And anybody who knows me knows that I don't buy cars to put miles on them. I buy them to look pretty in the garage for some reason, which makes no sense. So that S2000 that had 56,000 miles on it in 2013 has 61,000 miles on it in 2018. So in August of 2013, I had the car 2 months. Mr. Steve drove me up to Raleigh, and I bought my car from Barbara Walters' brother. Go ahead and do the voice.
Hello, I'm Bob, and I'm going to sell you a Jeep Cherokee. Not sure if Barbara Walters or Elmer Fudd.
Well, we should have
He's
called him
been hunting wabbits.
Barbara Walters. Instead of Barbara Walters. Super nice guy. His name was Bob Testa. No relation to Chuck Testa. Is that still a thing? Does anybody know what Chuck Testa is besides me, Stephen Thomas? Do you even remember?
I think that makes the two of you.
No shit. We got to watch the Chuck Testa.
You say Testa, I'm thinking Testers, the model paint?
No, there was a video.
To fix my car?
No, there was a video. It was a really shitty made commercial for a guy who did taxidermy named Chuck Testa. And it's funnier when you watch it, but I will do my best to
taxidermy.
He would it would be these random people, and it would be like somebody obviously carrying a deer head inside a car. It's like, look, that deer's driving a car, and then Chuck Testa would come up and go, nope, it's just Chuck Testa, and he did that with random. Hey, look, there's a bobcat cooking dinner. Nope, Chuck Testa. I specialize in the most realistic taxidermized animals. Taxidermized was the word he used. It's like, you might have thought these animals were really alive, but they're not. They're dead. You've got to watch this.
These are some really strange testimonials.
Well, anyway, the car I went up there to get was a 97 Jeep Cherokee. The square body cool one, not the Grand Cherokee, which was the fastest SUV for a while.
My old roommate had the 5.9 98, and then it was really quick when it ran.
Yeah, that was the problem. XJ's been, I'm not going to say trouble-free, because when I bought it, it had 242 on the clock. Now it's got 313 on the clock. So it's went through two alternators. First one was just a shit alternator, I think. It was a reman, so I went with a new one this time. Went through two of those. I'm on my second starter, and only because the starter location in those is stupid, because every time you change the oil, unless you cover the starter up every time, you get oil on that damn starter. They didn't engineer that so well. But it's got the 4-liter inline-6, and it's a 5-speed, and it's two-wheel drive.
What can you do with an engine dating back to the 50s?
True. Some of them still had AMC stamped on it into the 80s, which was cool as hell.
I've got an engraver. We can fix this.
But no, it's still kicking. That's my music hauler. Super comfortable. I've gotten a lot of new shit on it. I've spent more money on it than I have the S2K.
Have you spent more on it than you did on it in the first place? Maybe. It was $1,750. Yeah, it's close. So you and Hoover are about to go neck for neck on how much you spent on your Jeeps.
Well, probably, but he had a cracked head, so I mean that's a. He said it was $1,500. I can't believe
that would make me mad.
I can't believe he actually got charged $1,500 for it. Although the car wizard, he has probably he's given him enough business now though. But that's not a hard car to work on. That 7 Series he bought, and now the 6. No, is it? No,
he got an 850.
850, that's it. 850, the coupe, which are beautiful. Did you watch the video on it?
I saw the latest was it can't be fixed, but I still love it.
Yeah, did you see?
Well, maybe you should LS swap it like all the things.
I didn't realize that it had 2 of everything. I didn't realize it was 2 V6 or 2 6s together. That's a V12, and there was 2 of everything. There were 2 batteries. 2 ECUs.
What is this, a diesel?
You would think. But no, it was 2 inline 6s together as a V12, and it had 2 batteries in the trunk, 2 ECUs. They had 2 of everything. Now, Germany, in all its glory, I'm not a big fan of German cars, but they like to pride themselves on their engineering. Who the fuck thought that was a good idea?
Mechanics, yes. Electronics, no. When's the last time you bought anything from Blaupunkt or Grundig?
Bless you.
Dankeschön.
De nada.
Explique kein Spanish, mein Herr.
So now I don't know which one of us has had the weirder car history. I've had every kind of.
Yeah, that's certainly up there. I've had a lot of sequel cars.
You did
2 Volvos, 2 Tacomas. Probably gonna replace the Vibe with the Trix or something related.
So what's the biggest motor you can put in a Trix?
Second gen had a 2.4 in it. but I don't know. Seeing as it's another front drive thing, there's not a lot of room. So if you wish to make more power, go super turbo. No, could I actually find a crash release and put its engine in? Hey, they're related.
Yes, find one. Because Toyota's making horrible. Like, they're going to... It's the same way with Honda. On the S2000, we had a meet a couple of weeks ago. And... or months ago. I don't have a concept of time.
Whenever.
But we were just talking about how the enthusiast market is just barren. I mean, Toyota does make the 86, which you like, and I don't. I like the idea of it, but I already have...
This could be the slowest car I ever get a ticket in. Just you watch.
I don't know, the argument for it, or a used S2000, I think, unless you just don't want a convertible.
Well, you've got a hardtop on yours, and I'm using it as a convertible.
True.
But you have the hardtop, which is a very rare, expensive thing.
It is. Really is. They still go for almost $4,000. Probably trickled back down to about 35. Still a pretty good, because it's a discontinued part, and it's OEM, so it doesn't... I rode in one that had a replica top, and I thought I was in an earthquake. It was hard. It was just the fit. It looked good from the outside. It looked like it fit just fine, but as soon as you got in it, as soon as you would go down the road, just brrr, that's all you hear. There's no... I don't care how much weather stripping and Shinetsu grease you put on it. It just rattled like a...
Gesundheit.
Yeah, that. So that's our car history. So let's do this. Let's do your... You have to pick a daily driver. You have to drive this car Monday through Friday. And then you have to have a weekend car. But you can only have 2. So you get to pick, and this cars you have to keep forever. So you have to get to keep one car for your daily, one car for your weekend. What do you think it would be? It's hard for us to do. 2 cars is...
No budget?
Unrealistic. No budget, but with only 2 cars, I mean... Knowing your taste, I don't think I could make it $5 million. I don't think you'd go over it. I don't think I would. I could make it $500,000. I don't think either one of us would go over it.
I mean, then I'd think, totally nice middle of the road options have an Audi S3 hatchback for daily and a Lotus Evora 400. Shocker. Like, because I didn't say LS Swap DeLorean. How much Death Trap do I want?
I've been thinking about this lately, and I was going to tell you, if I had like a ridiculous amount of money, I would put my order in on the Tesla. What's the one you can't get yet?
The truck, the semi.
Oh no, you can get the 3 now,
the 3,
right?
Yeah, it's a rare bird. But
I'd have an LS swapped Tesla. Oh yeah. I don't know if that would be a part. I just want to do that. That's not going to be part of my answer. I think my daily would be...
Does that mean you just have the entire floor is made of fuel tank instead of batteries?
Why not? Let's put smokestacks on the side of it too. I mean, let's just go all out, fuck you to the environment, I guess. Come on, that's what they're going to think if you buy a Tesla and you put a motor, any kind of V8 motor in it.
Might as well put some sort of diesel burner. Rolling coal in the Tesla, y'all.
I think I would daily a Cherokee Hellcat with a 6-speed swap from a Challenger. I think I would daily that. And then my weekend, I think would be a supercharged NSX. The year before they went to the fixed headlights, because I'm a sucker for pop-ups.
I like that video.
What? There we go. That was better. I miss pop-up video. You crazy kids don't know what we're talking about.
I still can't find anything that was Anthony Bourdain's Layover Extra Miles that was pop-up travel video. The same concept of him going through wherever for a short period of time and then little things popping up for factoids.
Badass.
Some of you, earliest days of HD TV, so why not make TV to read even more entertaining if you had on closed captioning? Then your eyes are going to fall out of your head.
True. That's the only kind of reading I like to do. I can't stand reading.
And too keen on book learning.
I graduated high in my class, and I think I just hate reading. I think it was ruined because they just kept making you read shit you didn't want to read. Like I had no interest in reading The Scarlet Letter or Gods and Monsters, even though I had cool shit in it, but I had no desire. Just read a couple pages. Oh, that's cool. I was a numbers guy. Numbers don't lie.
I eked by on lots of Cliff's Notes, Spark Notes, whatever have you, to discover that AP English was not the place I should have been.
I want to know how this Cliff guy's hands didn't fall off from taking all these notes.
He died in a bus crash in '86. Sorry.
Oh, ooh.
What? Too soon?
Nah, nothing's ever too soon. But I'm trying to fit in a Lars joke in here, and I can't do it.
You're not feeling Ulrich with them?
Lars. There's a guy that does drum covers on YouTube, and he Larsifies songs. So he'll take a popular rock song, and he will overdub the drums with him playing drums like Lars would play the drums. And it's so accurate, and it's so funny at the same time because, Lars isn't a terrible drummer. He gets a lot of hate, but
mostly from Napster fans back in the day. And hey, now they went legit, so you can put all the stuff you want in Napster because everyone's getting paid for it.
True.
Pennies at a time.
True. Of course, I have an album out, and I'm getting 100% royalties, but I'm not really. I think I finally made close to $100 on my album.
Oh, good. Last night I told people, I think you made $27 so far.
I think it's up to 100.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't checked it in a little while.
Try to spin all in place.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's so much content. It's the best time of our lifetimes to put out any kind of content. Because 20 years ago, it was nothing. Now you can reach an entire audience of people for good or, for better or for worse. And
hi, audience.
that, yes. You can just reach an entire amount of people. But that's dangerous because everything you say, you can't unsay shit. Once it gets said, if they have it down, you can't. Man, these effects are cool as hell on Reaper.
Sorry, I've been listening to lots of Judas Priest.
Are you hell-bent for leather? Maybe underneath that coat. That somebody, God, what was it?
It's just human skin, but thank you.
Ed Gein. Steve and I have refilled our beers. Now we are going for a mixture. We are mixing Samuel Smith's Organic Chocolate Stout with a Wells Banana Bread. We are having chocolate bananas. Steve just tasted it. How is it, Steve?
Something English-tastic.
Hell, damn. All right, Sam Smith is English. Is Wells?
Yep.
No shit. I didn't know Wells was. I thought it was stateside. I thought it was colony, not imperial. I'll be damned. Bedford, UK.
Not from Benford, out of Fort Rock Hill Mill or
Yeah, they won't.
Spartanburg.
Yeah, they won't book
wherever
us. Yeah, they won't. They won't book my band.
They have to play everywhere else.
It's a busy year. We got 6 on. We had 6 on the books for January. Now we have 7 for February. Yeah, and 6 for March.
And they say it's a short month.
It usually is. People usually are still holiday hungover till the spring with money. But music's been good to us. Playing at this joint called the Grumpy Monk lately in Monroe. It's a cool joint. I actually like it there. I like playing there. The crowd gets into it. The ones that listen, it's like the bar is separate from the restaurant, so it is clearly inside an old steakhouse. So it looks like it used to be like a Lone Star or something. It's a little strange on the
Western
inside.
Sizzler on the east side.
Oh hell yeah, man! I got good memories of that place.
Not so much for me at Orion's when I got really sick off of the buffet.
Ooh, that chocolate banana is good. It tastes like a chocolate-covered banana runt candy.
Sounds half good.
Oh, you don't like the runts?
More for you.
Oh, fuck, I love the runts.
Oh, you said runt.
I like the other thing, too. But goddamn, what were we talking about?
Steakhouses.
There you go.
And music venues.
Grumpy Muck. Yeah. Mascot's cool as hell. That's the place is neat.
As Monk.
The food smells and looks fantastic. Toby and I haven't eaten there. We always play. I mean, they offer us half price food. By the time we leave, we don't feel like usually have to work the next day. So they have like sushi and burgers and wings. And
with their powers combined.
It's a just complete mishmash of, but everything they brought out looks delicious. Especially, they have this salad that comes out in a bowl that's like the size of that chair, and it's in like this cylindrical, triangular, it looks delicious. A
rotary dish?
Maybe. It even goes.
I was going to Mazda with that.
Oh, I went telephone.
Evankel.
Evankel? Not Evankel. The first daughter. Two wrongs do make a right, I guess, if she keeps her mouth shut. By the way, we got Toby and I. Shout out to Toby Lee, my partner in crime with music. We are not allowed to play at one establishment that's local here because of they said there was too much in between banter, in between songs, and people were complaining. And I wanted to tell the guy, I got news for you, buddy. Toby and I have been doing this for like 13 years now, and every place had said, we're so glad you guys have banter with the crowd and talk, and because most people just go up there and play. They play their songs, they play them in the same order they do. No deviation, no talking to the crowd. That's boring. I'm sorry.
And he named the bar C-word board.
Yeah. I mean, you got to get people. I mean, people are going to listen to music, but the thing is, they're going to stay for the show. You listen to the music, you stay for a show. I don't want to be the. I don't want to say I don't want to be the most talented person, but you
can try to be the most fun one.
Oh yeah, because when people go to a show. They don't. When you go to a show that you go, they killed it. That was a fucking awesome show. They just killed it. Everything was great. You don't go, man. Their guitar player really did play that that blues scale in A minor. I mean, he just really those Lydian chords. He just killed it. I mean, if you're a Dream Theater fan, you would do that because all about it.
So you're not in a Mike Portnoy either.
I don't mind. I'd rather listen to Dream Theater than Avenged Sevenfold. But
because then it's music.
I don't mind Avenged Sevenfold. Brian Baker's going to kill me. By the way, if he hears this, he loves Avenged Sevenfold. I just don't. I don't like it. I mean, there are certain songs. Scream is badass. I love the song Scream, but I can't get into it, and I think it's because of the fan base, excluding Baker and excluding Toby's a.
I would say it's been a long time since I was 24 listening to them.
Well, Toby's a fan of Avenged Sevenfold, and excluding him and Baker, a lot of their fan base is just it's like bro metal. Like a lot of bro metal guys listen to like the same guys that listen to Five Finger Death Punch, and they still listen to Limp Bizkit. It's bro metal, driving around their lifted bro truck and their bro dozer that's lifted on 40-inch swampers that hasn't seen mud.
Maybe $5 gallon of gas isn't such a bad thing.
Dude, you missaid diesel.
Also, yes.
Isn't that still over $4 a gallon?
Not nowadays.
I don't even.
It's like $2.70 around here.
I don't even check.
Sorry, California.
I'm still toying around getting a 80s turbo diesel Benz.
Well, all you need to do then is just rob some place of its waste vegetable oil. So check with Wendy's up the street.
True.
Turn French fries into fuel.
Thomas wants to do a biodiesel, but he also wants an electric car. And he did make his own energy drink with caffeine he bought off eBay. By the way, if you don't know Thomas, that's the kind of guy he is. He will just go for it, buddy. If it's a good idea or bad idea, he's going to go for it. I mean, because the thing is, he when he made his energy drink, he's just like, I'm going to wing it. I'm not gonna worry about the ingredients. This is Thomas. So I don't know how much
caffeine, nicotine, B12, and some Hawaiian Punch for flavor. Is that what it was?
Kind of. I don't know what else was in it, but the thing that stuck out to me was he said, we're going to put, or no, he in his mind, he said, okay, I'm going to put this. I don't know how much caffeine to put in. I'm going to put a tablespoon in this can. So he put a tablespoon.
30 milligrams?
Well, he later, before he tried it, which he, I'm glad he didn't because he would be no longer with us. So I would have had to give his toast at his wedding and his eulogy, which...
And he named the drink Dubstep Heartbeat.
The dub start my heart.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Nikki Sixx, please stop dressing like that. You are in your 50s. It is the same way with Robert, what's his name from The Cure?
Smith.
Robert Smith. Please stop doing that. You can wear and do whatever you want. I'm pretty much okay with it, but there is no fucking way I will go out of my house with that much Aquanet and eyeshadow on when I'm in my 50s.
Give me 14 years.
No, Steve, you can't get old. You can't get old. Steve's 36. I'll be 32 in, what's the day?
27th. So you got 2 odd weeks.
17 days. February 13th, 86. The year I was born, Chernobyl happened, and the Challenger exploded. Welcome to the world, Mr. Holt. What a shit year that was, I guess, right? Still had the Cold War remnants going on. Music was, well, most of the music was good.
You did get Rain and Blood.
Da-da-da. Scott Ian from Anthrax said, I think if there is a hell, I think once you enter hell, the soundtrack is Rain and Blood or Ricky Martin.
Let's hope he's right.
Either way is correct.
Whoa, wouldn't that be La Muerte Loca?
Crazy Dead? I completely forgot what we were talking about. Like 5 minutes. There was a method to...
I think this is the music tangent.
So it is kind of scripted. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. So I think it's important to, when you buy a new car, the first song you listen to in it. Now, I don't know if you keep up with that, but I do.
I've only kept up with 2 of the songs that gotten speeding tickets or crashes to.
What would those be?
I'm pretty sure it's Creed's one when I almost crashed a Volvo into a semi doing what we called the Weaver 500 growing up in Greensboro. Weaver Center having been a extended education course for schools that didn't offer, say, vocational studies and the Guilford County, North Carolina School District. And then the race to go from 0 period, the first period, driving as fast as possible from downtown Greensboro to the ritzy side of town where Page High School had been.
Is that anywhere near Spring Garden?
Ish.
Because the only things I can remember in Greensboro are Spring Garden and Wendover.
They're close enough.
And the Hojo. I know where Howard Johnson is. Right there in front of...
the hotel or the ice cream?
The hotel, which is near Four Seasons Malls in Winston.
Was he right? Four Seasons is Greensboro. Haynes Mall's
Winston.
Which is a mall divided by its own JCPenney.
Gotcha. That's it. That was what I was thinking of. God, last time I was at that mall, I had a buddy in town. This is going to sound strange. I had a buddy in town from Alabama. He was in town for a bowling tournament.
Sometimes the homes aren't so sweet.
Jess Nichols is his name. Nice, very super duper sweet guy. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. Dangerous driver though, and have even more dangerous ideas. So, at one of the Pigeon Forge StarQuest Club meets when I had my Starry on, he was a Jag guy. His dad had Jags growing up, 70s, 80s Jags. You know,
he's gonna love that previous episode of Grand Tour now, isn't he?
Yes, the pinnacle of reliability. No, engineer. No, not that. Styling. There you go. You want to look good on that toe bed. So Jess was like, "Hey, I picked up a project Starion and a project XJ12," and we were like, "Cool." I mean, That's interesting. You got 2 other project cars now.
Wouldn't you know, a cheap 12-cylinder isn't.
And by the way, he daily drove, and I am absolutely not shitting you. I can get you on the phone with him. He daily drove a Conquest he found on the side of the road. So evidently, there was, I think it was an '88 automatic Conquest. I think it was black, the one he found. So he's driving down the road and he sees it on the side of the road. And the next day it's still there. So he pulls over, and there, you can't make this up. There's a note on the car that says, "I don't want it." The guy had, like, it says check the glove box. In the glove box is the title that is signed. It's a signed title. The guy, it had broken down so many times. And by the way, they're not even that unreliable. Because I had one. They were I went through a transmission, but it was
the first or second?
Second went through a transmission. But I put a transmission in it that had 120,000 miles in it, and it was perfect. And I paid $150 for that transmission. But he found it, and the guy signed the title, which if you're not familiar with the laws, that means
it is free to good home.
It's a free to a good home.
Legit good to go until further notice.
Yep. So Jess flatbeds that car to his mechanic's shop, because Jess doesn't have any mechanical abilities. So he flatbeds that car to his mechanic's shop.
So whose project are these cars?
Whoever his car wizard is. I'm picking up what you're putting down. So he decides, he takes it to the mechanic, and the mechanic's like, they deliver it, and he says, I don't know it won't start, so I've got to dig into it. It's going to be a little bit for. He's like, take your time, whatever. They found a quarter-size hole in the exhaust manifold. So that's a hell of an exhaust leak.
That'd be quite a sound.
Yeah, and it needed a starter. But evidently the guy was so fed up with it, he decided he didn't want it anymore. I don't know how many problems the guy had. There's no history on it.
Hey, you just roll start the car.
Oh.
No way.
Yeah, that's why you don't buy an auto tragic. So they replaced the exhaust manifold, and then I think they put a new turbo in it. The seals were fucked in it. So they put a turbo in it, a starter, the exhaust manifold, and he daily drove that thing for like 2 years. But Jess is such a panicky driver. They took a drive. They were on their way to one of the Pigeon Forge meets, and he snapped a brake line on a steel braided brake line on that Starion, and rear-ended his own car that his wife was driving. He snapped a brake line and hit his own car. He is the biggest, sweetest man ever. He'd give you the shirt off his back and the pants if you asked for him. He's just a nice guy.
Trust me, folks, I got 3 pairs.
Bad on at one time.
Bit warm.
Bad shit happens to him. But anyway, so he back to the project cars. So he gets 2 more project cars, and he says, I've got this crazy idea that I'm gonna swap the XJ12. I'm gonna swap the V12 into the Starion. And we all kind of, everybody, when you go into somewhere and everything stops and a record scratches. Yep. We were like, so let me get this straight. You want to take a forklift motor. G54B out of the Starion was a forklift motor. It was in forklifts and trucks. The 2.6
the 2.6 turbo forklift.
Without the turbo, it was a forklift.
Turbo forklift.
That should be the next band name. we are the Turbo Forklifts. So it's like, you want to take that motor out, which is not a great motor, if I'm honest, because if you guys didn't know, the Conquest and Starions oversee. America only got the 2.6. Japan, Europe, they got the 4G63 that was in the Talons. So he wanted to put a V12 in it. I mean, engine bay would have fit it. It would have fit it perfectly. Why the fuck would you put a Jag V12 in anything but a Jag? Why would you put the Jag V12 in anything? Anyway, Jaguar is known for a lot, or Jaguar is what they say. He's writing silly things to me on his his tab phone.
It's a Samsung Galaxy Note 4. It ain't blowing up just yet. I'm just making funny notes on it. What do you think?
He's making funny notes on not a note.
It's a note.
It is a note. I thought you said Galaxy S4.
You said Galaxy Note 4.
Oh.
Instead of S4, my previous phone.
You know, musicians can't hear worth a damn.
Especially you. You got, 25% here, 33% there with their powers combined. You've got negative hearing.
Probably. One of my ears is 33%, but in my memory also, I don't remember what ear it is. It's one of the two. It's a 50% shot. By the way, I'm addicted to listening to Joey Diaz on Joe Rogan's podcast. The really heavy set Italia Rican. Cuba Rican? That guy's fucking nuts, man.
I don't go to the church unless it's happening now.
This, I mean, it's beer, music, and cars. What else?
That's his pod name.
He's
got his own.
He does. What's it called?
The Church of What's Happening Now with Jody Diaz.
Oh my! Have you listened to it?
No, I've been meaning to.
Oh, dude.
He's funny as hell.
There needs to be I would say Lifetime movie, but that's not going to fit the theme. There needs to be
That would be the best Lifetime movie. What are you talking about?
That would be the only, have you the Family Guy episode where there's two women and they just say stupid shit, but it's Lifetime television for idiots. That's a good one. I haven't listened to Spike Fairston's yet.
The Cars and Coffee for all of your ear needs. It's good. It's funny listening to him and then hearing him sound kind of like Seinfeld, since he had been a Seinfeld writer and wrote the Soup Nazi episode.
I mean, he's
podcast for you.
He strikes me as the type of there's some people you would want to sit down and have a beer with, and Spike and Seinfeld, that would be one. Leno would. I don't know if I would want to sit down with Letterman. You would? I don't.
We're gonna have a beard off. We've got some work to do.
We do have some work to do, but I've conditioned mine. And kudos to Troy from Greenlight Tattoo with the beard oil. They don't make it anymore, but that beard oil is really good. It's really, really soft. Very nice, and I don't know if you can hear that scratchy sound in the microphone.
Don't get dandruff in your mic guard.
Hey, it's mandruff.
Right, your name's not Dan. Never mind.
Oh, no. Dan. I'm indifferent about the name Dan. You know how some names you hear and you don't know what the guy, you've never met the guy
like
before.
Steve.
No, not like Steve. Like,
would be like one of those that it's gonna be a cool dude because his name's Steve.
Yeah, that. But then you hear another guy's name and you hear his name and you go, "Oh, he's probably not a good guy." Is there
Shane?
Yeah, that's not a good name.
It's like, unless you're at the Rib Shack, I can't help you.
True. I heard that's a little old place where we can get together. Rib Shack, baby. We're funny. We crack us up. Shane, I don't...
Do you like to play B-52 card pickup?
And to not to be rhyming with it, but I knew one guy named Payne, Payne, and...
That's a nice last name.
Definitely, but he was
just not in your neck.
He was a thunder cunt.
By the way, folks, this chocolate banana beer hybrid feels wonderful coming out your nose.
with or without the peeling. By the way, start carrying red bananas at work. Have you ever seen red bananas before?
Not since that dog I used to look out for. Oh, it was more of a lipstick. Never mind.
They're good. They like have a tropical mango-y flavor to them. They're actually really good. They're not cheap though. They're $1.49 a pound. It's not cheap.
How big's a pound?
1.7 US dollars. Something like that. It's higher.
Probably 220.
I got you.
XJ.
Hell yeah.
A different one.
That's a good car. I like the episode of Proper Top Gear when they did the 90s supercars versus the modern ones.
The van with the XJ220 swap was bonkers McTavish.
That one, but yeah, that I think that was the same episode because they did the one with it was the Thatcher supercar, the cars of Thatcher's era versus Tony Blair's, because they did an Enzo Ferrari, McLaren, the first McLaren after the F1. No, this was before then. It was 3 modern supercars versus, I think it was an XJ220, a McLaren F1, and a Ferrari F40. And the old ones blew them away. Because and there's another, which I've been meaning to tell you to watch, was Savage Geese on YouTube.
Subscribe to it and haven't seen any of them. Whoops.
It's very thorough. Like, they go through, and they were talking about, because he has an S2000 also, and he was talking about...
Is it white, or you can steal it? That'd be savage.
That'd be the only thing I sold mine for, would be a white one. A white CR.
Just paint both your cars white. You know you want to.
I kind of do. I'm the opposite of Mick Jagger. I want to paint it white, and I'm not even a supremacist unless it's coming on pizza with no mushrooms.
And never mind that, you're still a fun guy.
Mushrooms are on my list of 5 things I don't eat.
It's growing, folks.
The mushrooms are growing because it's a fungus, and you should fucking eat a fungus. What the fuck were we talking about?
You don't like food.
Yeah, but it was before then.
Cars.
Yeah.
White S2000, Savage Geese.
Savage Geese. It was, he said modern cars are video gamey. You know, he's tested a lot of high end. You know, he did the he really liked the new Lexus Coupe, the RCF.
LC 500.
LC 500.
Bullshit, they're video gamey. I keep hitting stuff in my car, and not once can I get that awesome, like, bouncing up and down flipping motion from Rad Racer.
Well, you know, if you live...
And the whole reset switch thing, that doesn't work either. It doesn't automatically recenter in the middle of the road and keep going.
Well, depending on your video game, you still can beat up hookers.
That was grand. And your lawyer fees will cost you many Grand Theft Autos.
It depends on what part of town you're in and what city. Sometimes
somehow Charlotte's got a kinder, gentler MLK drive.
Oh yeah, there was. Oh man, I'll tell you that story later. But
something off the air?
It might be on the air. It might be on the air depending on how long this is. It's already went 1 hour and 30 minutes. We were going to keep this at an hour, but I don't think that's going to happen now.
Well, we both have places to be tomorrow. You've got to be wherever a bit earlier.
8:30. That's a mid for me. An open is 6:30 a.m. A mid is 8:30, which is everybody else's normal.
Still early, yeah.
Steve doesn't have normal schedule anymore.
It's been a very strange 2 years. Get fired and rehired by the same company, and now I'm a vampire. Hey, man.
You look tan.
It's the lighting.
It's actually really hot. This is simultaneously the hottest or coldest room in the house, depending on whatever it feels like. We're at my home studio here in Charlotte.
I'd say right now it's going to be the hottest with us in here. Ladies.
So good at...
Wait, they're downtown.
So good at sex, holler out our own names.
Downstairs. Speak. Spear's working.
But
Caitlin should drive back.
Oh yeah.
I'm too drive the drunk. She got to drive stick. At least not that one.
Heyo. He has an S2. Back to the original point. He has an S2K and
what? Let's get derailed.
Well, the new Civic Type R was faster around the Nürburgring than the S2000, and he was saying that was one driver.
Which we're going to look at
on one track. He says, "What happens when you shorten the course? What happens when you have the same driver in both cars?" He says numbers are meaningless. And as you get older, you realize that because he had another statistics he pointed out, and I hate to keep borrowing from him. If you want to hear the statistics, you'd watch his podcast. But just for the sake of argument, I think it was 06, the Mitsubishi Evo MR and the WRX STI were slower around the Lightning Lap road course on Car and Driver than a Cobalt Super Sport. That should tell you everything you need to know about numbers. Now, and he said, is a Chevy Cobalt Super Sport a better car to drive? Is it a better car to drive than a WRX STI or an MR? No. Is the Civic Type R a better driving experience than an S2000? No, it's not. Just because, that's one driver. There's so many variables in it. And I've grown to it. I've thought about selling the S2000. I toyed around with the Viper, the first-gen Viper. I've toyed around with a lot of things, but the thing is, what's more fun? The S2000's a blast.
For said price.
Yes.
Sure.
How much do you want to pay to play? I mean, I paid $20,000 for that S2000. I could sell it for $20,000 right now.
Well, we were both first-hand witnesses to the great Max Drive-In incident. On that same day was the day I test drove the Vibe. And I told you then, I just test drove the merger of your two cars.
He did.
I have a box on wheels that revs to $8,000.
Mm-hmm.
Do what now? He said, so how do you feel about having an Arrowhead looking back at you? Like, it's really a Toyota. I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And 3.5 years later, it's been mad okay.
Oh, yeah. If I were in the market for a car, that wouldn't be a bad choice to have.
If somehow you needed to consolidate your vehicles, that gets a strong recommendation.
It would.
Anywhere between 03 and 06, when they still go yay fast, 07s and 08s couldn't be had with the $8,000 nor the all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive was automatic only, so don't go there. It's Charlotte. You need all-wheel drive once a year. So it's going to be okay.
I've never had an all-wheel drive car.
Ditto.
And as a quick count, rear-wheel drive, I've had 2 Conquests, the truck, the Astrovan, the Jeep, the S2000. And then the front drivers were the AC, 2 Hondas, and the Maxima. So I've had 6 to 4, rear to front.
I think I'm backwards because Volvo, Tacoma.
Ah. It's like...
With honorable mention with the old 87, so 4.5.
God, well,
So
it counts.
87, 97, 07 Tacoma.
It counts. It definitely counts.
And then 2 of Gothenburg's finest.
Well, the question becomes: I bought the S2000 for $20,000. I sell it for $20,000. What do I buy for $20,000? That is a sorted, because I've toyed around with an LS swap FD RX-7. That would, that smile. One of the prettiest cars ever built. But the thing is, for $20,000, is it a well-sorted car, or is it a basket case? Because all the ones I've looked for that were under $20,000, $20,000 or under, all the ones I've looked at, the drivetrain and engine was perfect. Perfect. The interior and the paint were garbage.
There were no
absolute
Jesse
garbage.
Ventura, huh?
Yeah.
Wrong body.
And I love rat rods. You don't rat rod that car. You rat rod a 68 D100. You don't rat rod an FDRX7. Or
an FC though.
I don't. That's if I wanted that, I'd just get another Conquest.
If you still want a convertible, which you don't,
yeah, true.
At least that one could be had.
True, but or the other part, the paint was immaculate, the interior was immaculate, and then it had an LS swap, but it was needs work, not running, no AC.
Hey man, it's still running on 7 cylinders.
Meatloaf's song 2 out of 3 ain't bad. 7 out of 8 is pretty fucking bad. Or at least it sounds pretty bad. So I don't know what you'd sell.
Destroy my Geo Metro.
I wouldn't mind a 240 with an RB swap.
A Volvo?
That would be badass though too.
A Mercedes.
That wouldn't be bad either. Anything named 240 was always a good car.
Listen.
Yeah, those are all good cars.
My brother's graphics card. Oh wait, that's got no moving parts.
I would love a Sylvia clone from then. Not my Aunt Sylvia. I don't think I could drive her. And now it's a weird tangent. Pause for station identification.
You're going to need an outcest after that one.
No, I don't know. For $20,000, what do you buy? And have as much fun. You have to spend more. I don't want to spend more.
So don't.
I'm not. I'm going to save my music money and supercharge the S2000. Much to the chagrin of my wiffy. I got to drive to Tampa.
If she don't like it, she can make her own music money and then supercharge her Accord. Nice Buick.
Steve doesn't like those Accords too much. And I'll be honest, it is the most uncomfortable car to ride in my recent car history. Like, all of my cars have been more comfortable, including the current ones. And the S2000 are sport seats for sport butts.
It's a nice Maytag.
Yep. I just quoted your dad.
Thanks, Bob. I'll spell his name backwards.
You think Bob will listen to this?
Nah.
I don't think Roy's going to listen.
What do you think? Like, you've been using some language, boy.
I don't. Well,
nah.
I think your parents would probably care about that more than mine. But you're the oldest of 3, and I'm the youngest of 4. So, as much as I love my brothers and sisters, it's been an interesting history between all of us. So I don't think anything I could do would.
I love the story of when you were born and Greg's reaction.
Oh, hell yeah. My brother was born 65, which means he was December of 65, which means in February of 86, he would have been 20. And my birth was toasted at his frat party at UNC Charlotte. So I blame my craft beer enthusiasm for Greg. He doomed me from birth. Me and my large ass babiness at 9 pounds and 23 inches long. I was a toddler. Way to go, Mom. All natural. 2:13 a.m., 2:13:86. Badass.
Happy Valentine's Day, y'all.
The joke is, I was due on Valentine's Day and came a day early. Only time in my life I've came early. Steve's a Thanksgiving baby.
I was born on Thanksgiving, and I've never been to Turkey.
Have you ever? I was going to a stuffed. If you're, I mean, you just set me up for it.
It's all gravy, baby.
That does make it easier to get in. Wait, brown gravy or sausage gravy?
Let's not discriminate.
Somebody said that. Somebody from the north said gravy biscuits aren't a meal. And I said, I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. Gravy biscuits are a fucking meal.
If they're not a meal, you didn't eat enough.
Hell yeah. And now that I'm on my diet, I can't really do that.
I've said it with celery, carrots.
I sell vegetables. By the way, everybody, I sell vegetables for a living. I damn sure don't like eating them. It just tastes like nothing.
Meanwhile, I work in a print shop for billing, and all my bills are handled online. So, a little self-defeat much?
Well, in 50 years, I think both of our jobs will be gone. There won't be paper anything anymore. And everybody will order food online. They will order groceries online.
It's all going to be bidets, isn't it?
Probably. Bidets?
If there's no more paper, that'll use TP, bub.
True. But,
how much no paper do you not want?
Well, the thing about bidet, it just gets it wet. It doesn't pressure wash your ass or your anus. Right?
That could hurt.
It would.
Don't know.
You still have to wipe something, don't you?
France.
I've never had that experience.
Unless it becomes the 3 seashells, however that works. Help me, Rob Schneider.
Ouch.
So maybe
there's got to be something.
Some paper out
There's got to be something. Or what about like a conveyor towel that self cleans? You just hold your anus over that would burn. By the way, if you have a bidet which shoots water, shouldn't you have an ass dryer? That would be boss. And I think it would probably feel pretty good from my past experiences. It's a good thing it's a podcast and not a pictogram. I'd have to draw a picture for you fine listeners, if there's any left after this point.
I'm frowning so much it hurts. I'm about to laugh at the same time. This is very confusing.
It's one. Yeah, you ever have one of those? You don't know whether to laugh or cry, or that's a good one. Oh, by the way, there's a girl that comes in every Sunday at work. She came in this morning. Really attractive woman. Everybody in the store stops and gawks at her, and whatever. And if I weren't married, I would act on it. Of course, I'm married, never do anything. But she came by, and we always talk. It's friendly conversation. It's never like weird flirting or anything like that. But I was like, well, enjoy. She was leaving my department. So enjoy the rest of your day. She said, you too. And she came back about 10 minutes later. She goes, well, what's your name? I'm in here all the time. You're just really friendly. I'm like,
say like, oh, she's asking you this. Like,
oh yeah, I have fucking name tag on.
Name tag.
Oh, my name's AJ. She goes, well, I'm. She's told me her name. I'm not gonna say her name. And so it's nice to meet you. It's fine. She says it's nice to meet you finally. And gives your name. You're always really nice. So it makes the time go by faster. I'm makes for a friendlier experience. And I'm always friendly to everybody. And then she said, I'm on my way to church. Is there anything you want me to pray for you about? I'm like, you just ruined this conversation, didn't you? I was like, nah, it's all right. It's always weird.
If I want to go to prayer, I'm going to the brewery in Greensboro.
That's a groovy-ass place. I'll tell you a story about that in a second. But...
Time's up.
Time's up for what?
You said 1 second.
Wah, wah, wah. But I understand, Steve and I aren't religious, and I understand if that means something to you, that's cool, but like, we were having a nice conversation. Why did you have to say that to me?
It's the South.
I know. Ugh. It was weird. I was like, nah, it's like, not religious. Whatever thoughts you throw my way, though, it's cool with me. She's like, okay. She was cool about it. A lot of people aren't. They want to go, why aren't you religious?
You're going to burn hell, boy.
I'm like, are you going to be in heaven? Yeah, I'm going to be in heaven. Oh, well, cool. Have fun up there. I'll wear shorts and a t-shirt, I guess. But Pryor in Greensboro, Pryor Brewing Company or brewery, I don't know what it is. Richard. Well, it would be on fire, wouldn't it? Didn't Richard Pryor set himself on fire twice? Carlin had a bit about that. He had a bit about I had a heart attack, and then Pryor had a heart attack. So I was like, well, fuck that. He's not going to get a one-up on me. I'm going to have a heart attack. And then he set himself on fire at one time, and I went, nah, I think I'll just have another heart attack. But Toby and I were up there to play a show.
Can't beat it.
We played at Gibbs 100 Brewing Company in Greensboro. Really cool joint. We had played the night before at Appalachian Mountain Brewing in Boone. So we were on the road. We stayed overnight in Boone. Toby had a dream. I don't know if I told you this or not. So we're at the hotel in Boone, and we just got done with the show. We unloaded, put everything in the hotel room so we can keep everything out in the Jeep. And Toby wakes me up at 2:00 in the morning, yelling in his sleep. I don't know what the fuck he was. He was dreaming about some awesome cookout, but I roll over and he's like, I want some hot dogs and some hamburgers and some chicken and beans. And I went, Toby, what the fuck are you doing? It's like 2:00 in the morning. And he laughed. He went, ha, ha, ha. And he went back to sleep. He had no recollection. I told him the next day, I was like, what the fuck were you dreaming? He's like, what are you talking? He had no idea what it was. And if y'all know Toby, it's funny. He's so quiet. Unless he's around us, he's
so he only sleep talks.
Oh, it's so great! It was so great. I need some booze. The chocolate banana combination's pretty dank. So, staring at the glass is not going to bring more booze. You're going to have to pour.
Okay.
We got more booze downstairs. It's all good.
Yay.
So we're on our way back from Boone, and we got a late start. We drank a lot in Boone because every time we play shows, we get free beer, and we get free beer, and then drunk people in the crowd enjoy the show. They buy us beer, so we get more beer. So we had a lot of beer. Moral of the story: a lot of these stories Steve and I talk about are going to start out with beer, but we go to Greensboro. We were like, well, we're going to hit some breweries before we play Gibbs Hundreds. I think it was their 4th or 5th anniversary party. We go and we hit up Pryor first. I'm going to have to look it up later. But we hit up Pryor, and then we hit up Natty Greens. No, we hit up Natty Greens last. We hit up Pryor, then Pig Pounder, which is good. All the beers were named after pigs, like swine, ale. Good place, though. Nothing.
Porky, Raymond Watts.
Miss. Piggy. All right. All the that was a stretch, but
Petunia.
So we go to Pryor and then Pig Pounder. Then we go to another one up there that I don't remember. There's another one up there before we went to Natty Greens. We ate at Natty Greens. By that time, it was too fucking late. Because we had got a flight of everything every place had. Unfortunately, we had a hotel in Greensboro too, guys. We didn't have to go far. So we got a flight. At this point, it's a lost cause. We're at Natty Greens and we're eating, and I'm like, I'm fucking drunk. And Toby's like, I am too. I'm like, we got to play a 3-hour show at this fucking place. And so we're at Natty Green's and we're eating, and we get to Gibbs 100, and they say, hey, we've been here since 11 a.m. and we're really tired. We're going to go ahead and give you your check. And we get there. The show's from 7 to 10, and we get there about 6:30. We get there about 6:30. It doesn't take us long to set up. We've been doing it for years. So we set up at 6:30, and the owner's like, yeah, here's your check, man. Have a good night. We're leaving soon. Him and his wife. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbs.
Yeah, for real. So he gives us our check, and we set up, and this party's just LMFAO would be proud because that Party Rock was in the house that night.
Sorry for party rocking.
I'm not sorry for party rocking.
Hey, man, sometimes the band's got to apologize for its former self.
It might be horrible music, but at least it's catchy.
Totally rip off the Bugle. Sorry, John Oliver and Andy Saltzman.
I love John Oliver. He's my British man. He does look like British Millhouse. I just blew Steve's mind. He is British Millhouse. So we play we're on the patio, and it's busy inside, it's busy outside. So we play about 45 minutes, and we're like, we're going to take a break. We need to take a break because I was so tired, and we were both so drunk. And nobody gave a shit anyway. Like 2 people out of 400 were listening. So we're like, well, we don't ever do this, but we already got paid. So we played it's a 3-hour show. We played 45 minutes. We took an hour and a half break. And so nobody was there to tell us to go back on. And, and after that, we finish out the show, and then we pack up. And I don't regret it. It's funny as hell, and people are going to know about it now. But they don't do music that often. We were just so whooped, and nobody gave a shit anyway.
Some days you're Ron White you wish to be. A little unprofessional.
Yeah, I love Ron White. He starts out every show sober, and then by the end of the show, he is just shit-faced. We need some crazy Steve stories now, man. I know you got some built up in there.
What, this? Here? Now?
Sure.
Why? Like, you don't see a lot of people exceeding 10 plates at the Flying Saucer. I'm among those ranks, and you're about to join them.
I'm getting close.
And lots of people are like, how'd you do that? It's like, well, you can get a lot done if you only drink, a couple beers a week, and then maybe don't drink so much outside the local Fliegende Untertasse. And here I am creeping up on number 14 and had I joined on a live in Raleigh, I might have had 20 more to be that much closer to 14. It was inconvenient to go to that one downtown when I was living near NC State, and there are cheaper drinks and better parking closer by.
Yeah, that's a cool location, but
get the first 5 plates when you live next door to the Flying Saucer for 6 years.
Yeesh.
And then during our tenure of roommate-landlord relations, it sure were easy to have a DD of some sort to go in, do a thing, go out, have a time, and we survived it all.
Steve lived with me for a short period.
We lived together.com. 4 years worth.
That's a lot different than you think it would be.
How do you spell?
GRRRRRRR Tolkien. Or Martin. I don't know. I'm not up on sci-fi fantasy. If it's sci-fi or fantasy, the only star I like is Starion. I don't like Star Trek, Star Wars, Star Search.
Stargate.
I don't like Stargate. I don't know what Stargate is. I don't like it.
Come on, you gotta love you some MacGyver in space. Love Space MacGyver.
Space Guyver.
Go on.
I'm gonna save the world with this paperclip and toothpick in space.
They're not far off.
But it's far out, man. Super Troopers 2 is coming out soon.
It's going to be a kinder, gentler 420.
We've taken the Cars, Bars, and Guitars podcast to movies and other things, too. It is episode 1, however. And we were supposed to keep it at an hour, and we're creeping up on 2.
What the hell do you want for crazy stories there, man? Everyone's like, hey, how are you... blah 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 blah.
I'm sure you have
go
some.
drink and everything, and now I'm just a little too exhausted to think of anything.
I'm sure you have some, but we may end up saving them for
that's
another
gotta
time.
be another time, another place. Like, hey, we're out of time, and who the hell's still listening to this anyway? If you want to drop us a line at email yet established.
We will establish the email.
If you're listening
soon.
to this, you know how to find us.
Yeah, definitely.
That thing you said about the thing, I really didn't like that. Neat. You're blocked. I'm banning you off YouTube before you can for me.
I'm going to ban you first.
Yeah. It's MySpace, not yours.
You know, somebody had I don't use Twitter, and I don't think you do either. Somebody had posted.
It's been a decade and not much.
Well,
especially not since that midnight kicked the bucket.
Yeah, somebody had posted that. Hey, Twitter. It was an at Twitter. They were addressing. Yeah, the Twitter actually has a mascot name. I don't remember the name of the bird.
The chirp.
We'll look it up later. We need I need Emily's laptop up here so I can look shit up when I'm talking about shit I think I know something about. But somebody had a Twitter thing. It was like, hey, at Twitter, you guys need to have a feature where as soon as you visit somebody's page, it plays music. And then somebody's like, bitch doesn't even know. She's so young, she doesn't even remember what MySpace is. We have reached the point. You and I have reached the point.
Do you know my friend Tom?
He's everybody's friend.
Dude, the guy's name was Thomas Anderson. Know what Keanu Reeves' character's name was beyond Neo in The Matrix? Thomas Anderson.
Have you been expecting him?
Yes, me. Me. Greatest voicemail greeting ever.
Especially if your name is Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
What was that guy's name who played?
Hugo Weaving.
That's a cool fucking name.
Yeah.
I wish I had a cool name.
Applejack's Holt isn't cool enough for you.
No,
you can't be Stevie Nicks.
That's a cool name. But my grandpa had a cool name. I was going to be Augustus Clifton Holt III, AC. I would have much rather been AC.
That answers your next car thing. Shelby Replicar. You'd have to get your own AC Cobra. AC Holt.
I don't like them as much as Thomas does. He loves AC Cobras. I like them. I would like to have an original for monetary purposes.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Get yourself a Factory 5. Go nuts with it. Maybe you'll crash it. Don't.
Yeah, I've already crashed enough silver Hondas.
What you do is get a Shelby Replicar, but put some sort of EcoBoost in it instead of a V8.
Jesus. No, the Tesla battery packs. Everything comes full circle. Everything always comes full circle. Especially at a jerk. Ooh. Yeah, sorry about that. That's a sticky comment. And suddenly Steve doesn't want his beer anymore. I'm going to pour me some more. What do we have the most of left? There's... You're on number 1.5, right?
2.5.
2.5? I mean,
initial beer
on this one.
Yeah, that.
Hey, we're equal opportunity, man. I'm just trying to make sure we get an equal amount of booze in. Because you have to...
And then you're going to go to bed and I'm going to drink some more.
Probably, yeah. But I have to be at work at 8:30, so I got to get up at 7:15 in time to feed the critters. Me and my 3 kitty cats.
Them's going to let you know.
Well, guys, I think we're wrapping up here the first episode of the Cars, Bars, and Guitars podcast. We really do hope you enjoyed it. Facebook.com/CBGPod, YouTube channel to come, email correspondence to come too. Everything will be available. You know where to find us. And
dear Alan Rickman's ghost, please don't be too upset about the logo.
Hello, Alan Rickman. It's just... all the cool people are dying or becoming like sexual deviants, which is fucking horrible. All my favorite musicians are dying. I don't like it. We got to do something about that.
Like universal health care?
It should be. I don't understand it. But now that's becoming cars, bars, guitars, and fucked up, stupid, greedy shit that's happening in the world. I mean, so do we really want to go down that road? Or do we want to keep it lighthearted? Lighthearted? Deuces. I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Yep. See you in a couple weeks, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm AJ.
Good night to all. Good night. This is Steve Ray J. And cut.
Later.